everyone, and welcome to the full any% speedrun guide for European Extreme in Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. This guide will cover the route and a few alternatives current as of September 4th, 2025, a week after launch. Airwalks are allowed in this category, so we will be using them to skip over significant portions of the game, but more on that later. As for the beginning options, you can choose any option on the questionnaire in either Legacy or New Style, but I would suggest against showing tips since they can be rather annoying. Timer starts upon hitting start once the confirmation for your options is displayed. On PC, we have a load remove timer, so that is currently the way to go.
East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Starting out is rather simple,
Jack,
rather
I've got some
generic as far as these games go. You skip a few cutscenes and a codec, and you are right into the thick of things. Upon getting into gameplay, roll once to get around the tree, roll a second time to get under the second tree, and then roll towards the tree you climb to grab your backpack. And once you reach the top, you can take 2 steps and just a little bit of a third, and then you can drop down and you'll grab the bag pretty consistently quickly. After the radio call and another cutscene, we now have full control, and it is worth noting here that rolling is in fact the fastest form of movement by about 23% over just regularly running. So anytime we can be, we would like to be standing while running forward and rolling. Much like the original, there is a route here to continue having full standing momentum. If timed properly, you can manage that second roll across the island there with no slowdown at all. Into Tramucci North, after the cutscene and the radio call, very carefully aim at this first guy. Theoretically, you want to get him in one headshot, but if not, just make sure that the second guy doesn't catch the sounds and get spooked by it. After which, you can trank into a roll and take him out without a caution. A caution would severely hamper us going into Dolino Vodno. As for Dolino Vodno itself, you can either roll into this guy, or you can have him get baited by the sound of footsteps. Either works. Take the 2 guys out across the bridge, and make sure the guy at the other end, the last guy in the room, gets a caution so that he starts calling it in. This gets him out of the way. There are 2 places where he can go. He can either go towards the exit of the area, or, as to be displayed here, he can actually come to the closer section here next to this tree. Either way, he's easy enough to take out. Once we get to Rasvet, we are going to trank the guy standing next to the tree ahead of us and ignore many of the other ones around. There are faster routes through this room, but this is the one that I've found to be the most consistently good. The one that keeps me out of trouble the most often. Trank the second guy off to the right here. And you can also get around this guy without getting a trank, but I have had issues. Sometimes he can just kind of turn and see you sometimes, so for absolute safety, take him out.
He's a member of the
After a few more cutscenes and a couple of radios, we'll have gained control back of Snake, and all that's left of Virtuous mission is to run back out of Mattmatt. Here we're going to skip through the remaining cutscenes and last radio message of the Virtuous mission, which gets us into the cure section, which is slightly different from original, as you cannot easily dictate the order in which you cure these. But if you don't move your mouse, it's going to be 1 cut, 2 cut, 3 cut, then bone fracture, cut, bone fracture. These are the same methods for curing as in the original, so as long as you are able to quickly navigate the menu, there's no problems there.
So how does it feel? Yesterday, the White House...
This brings us into Operation Snake Eater, which once again starts with a slew of cutscenes and a radio call. Quickly enough, skip through those, and off we go. Now, I made a habit of taking the compass off. You don't need to. There's no reason. Also, be very aware on European Extreme. If you've gotten a Foxhound rank before this, your current attempt, you'll have the easy gun. Make absolutely certain not to accidentally equip that, as special items are disallowed. So we'll need a couple of food items. You can shoot the snake right here just after the drop-off for a quick and easy one that wastes very little time. And then move into the boss cutscene and radio. And here, unlike the first trip, we're going to stand, roll, and then take off to this right path here to avoid messing with either of those two, which also saves us a stun grenade. Then bait that guy down the right path, and then circle around and get out of the area. In Dolino Vodno, we have the addition of 1 extra dude, but this is mostly like the original, in which you can just swing wide of him and get onto the bridge without even notifying him of your presence. And of course, Mattmatt at night does not have anyone to worry about, so it's a straight shot directly into the cutscene trigger. The one difference is you can take a quick detour to smash the window prior to the Ocelot unit fight. Now, as mentioned before, this is the any percent in which we're allowing the airwalks. So that is what we're going to be doing to get rid of the Ocelot unit ASAP. But first we need to actually trigger this cutscene to grab our equipment, because we'll be needing it through the rest of the game. As for the backpack, take the knife off, put the 2 pistols on, remove the directional mic, and here you can put that snake on if you've chosen to grab it. Take the first guy out, wait for the second guy to come around the corner, take him out, and then distract the guy on the roof. If you're too quick, you'll have to add that second shot. It is totally fine. Our ammo is absolutely not in any sort of crunch with the airwalks happening. Make sure to tag that guy with the stun grenade on the roof, or take him out with tranks, either works. And here comes the airwalks. So you can set it up by just hitting the D key on your keyboard after hitting the top of the ladder. One thing you need to be watchful for is your proximity to the edge, because sometimes if you are just too close, Snake will drop off the edge and you won't be able to do the airwalk. But once you do get the airwalk started, it is 20 camo swaps for absolute safety. There are setups for less. In fact, Tromboncino, as of the time of recording, has just gotten a 13 swap setup to work. But again, 20 for absolute safety. Make sure you're aimed directly over the gate and you should be totally fine. And just like that, you're across and can get into Choniprud. Once you're in the swamp, there are two directions you can go. There's the left path, which allows you to grab some Mark 22 ammo and some grenades. But there's also the path off to the right, which will be technically less swimming. This will change what you do in Bolshaya Pass South, so this is... until it is properly timed, it is totally personal preference. The right side does have the opportunity for being faster, but again, testing needs to be done. I'll be showing both paths through both Chornyprud and the Bolshaya Pass South in this video, just for display purposes. So the left side path here is fairly standard as far as what the route used to be. Just be very cautious about the claymores. They're a little bit more visible on this version, I find, than they used to be. Unfortunately, this game also has a bit of a problem in if you roll against a tree. It's kind of like MGS2 was, where you'll bounce off to the side of whatever you collide with, and that can cause problems. Past that, we are using the crouch rolling, new to Delta, just to ensure absolute safety for getting around. Make sure we're not seen by anyone who can actually cause an alert. And into Bolshaya Pass base. As for the right path, it does involve a little bit more rolling at the start, but again, it cuts down on the amount of swimming. Either way, we are going to have to deal with a leech, and this is potentially a problem because we need as much stamina as possible. As it stands, we don't have enough stamina to make it down the river ahead of the warehouse in one swim, or, oh, sorry, one surface, without eating first. So, trying to maintain stamina, at least for this first part of the run, can be something. On this route, the claymores are a little bit more tricky, but there's genuinely some nice little spots you can find yourself in to not deal with that. Trank the two dogs, just because they can cause issues later. And then past that, the exact same as the left path, we just roll through the fence. Make sure we go around the log. Stay low to avoid detection. And you'll see here I am using the aiming to be able to adjust my direction quickly. Snake does have momentum and inertia in this game, so like the Phantom Pain, if you aim your weapon, you can change which direction you're going basically immediately, and it makes things a whole lot nicer. So here I opt to shoot and then roll through, but you can just roll through. The caution here won't really matter. What you'll need to do, though, is to unequip the suppressor and then make sure you've got your stuns on. If you're on controller, you can make this first shot immediately. On PC with mouse aim, it's not necessarily possible, but you can get Ocelot from behind the rock there. Shoot the Markor to distract. And wait until he stops being an acrobatic jerk. You can finish this fight before he swaps weapons here. In fact, there are documented strats in which it is done quite quickly, much quicker than this, but as far as an Ocelot fight on new style, this is decent. In the cave branch, the route is exactly the same as it used to be. I'm in fact going to go into my options here and make it a bit quicker, make it a bit lighter so that we can actually see what's going on once I find the actual option for it. But yes, it's basically directly forward from where you're standing. Find the crawl space and make your way through. Now, it was conjectured that crawling diagonally or sideways was faster. It may not be, but even if it's not, I like it because it doesn't have the shifting camera. It just makes it look a bit nicer. So there's no reason to pause there. All you need to do is make sure you have your 2 pistols equipped. Grab the smokes on your way through. And then on this line, more or less, you want to start your next airwalk. So hold your camo button as soon as you get to right about that line there. Again, for absolute safety, 20 will do it. Basically, we are airwalking straight past the cutscene triggers that would spawn the pain in. And in doing this, we're going to end up in the water and able to just swim directly out of the area. And just like that, we are past where the pain can potentially spawn. Which leaves us free to just swim on out of the place. If you still need food at this point, you can shoot at the fishies on your way past. And roll on out of here. The cave entrance does have another opportunity for some food. Once you get to the cutscene trigger for the floating platforms, you will have in front of you a couple of Russian false mangoes that'll spawn that you can shoot, and they are pretty quick to grab. I would still prefer, personally, to grab the snake in the beginning of Operation Snake Eater, which on this particular file I did not grab because these are stitched together runs of different rooms. I choose to eat something before heading into the river coming up next, just so that I can make that one surface strat. It is not necessary. There's 2 surface strats that also work. I think if you are quick enough with the menuing, that the one surface strat will be faster. But the river is pretty simple. Stay towards the bottom of the river and go as straightforward as you possibly can. You can continue going on for a little while here, but I choose to surface a little bit early just for cycle purposes. And once you get to the last floating platform, I choose to take the left path. I have had times where he spots me. If I don't go either left or right, I choose left because that's the way the river's bending, and it feels like it makes sense. Either way, that leads us to the warehouse exterior. This is basically same as normal. There are 2 ways of getting through this. One involves just taking the first guy out with the headshot and then taking out the barrels next to him. This is basically same as normal. This allows you to come to this left side without worrying about cautions or alerts. which gives you Mark 22 ammo, M1911 ammo, and a stun grenade pack, which could be quite useful, especially for any percent, considering we're pretty low on stuns here. There is also a secondary way through here, less useful for any percent, but still worth noting, where you take the guy, you shoot the guy in the chest-ish area, take out the barrels, and then swim straight forward at the warehouse. This ignores all of the ammo and the stun grenades. So unless you have another option for grabbing stun grenades, this probably won't be particularly useful. Again, just for demonstration purposes is this. At any rate, we're in the warehouse, and this is where we're going to have our third airwalk. So, again, during Rasvet, I remarked that you should put your snake on your hotbar there. This, again, being another stitched together run that didn't grab the snake. But anyway, we're going to get past the door I just marked out by airwalking. At the top of these stairs, there is a very convenient visual cue, the darker black line right where the area turns to the left there. That is, we want to start the airwalk with our cursor right between that line and the line just before it. And if you haven't already, I would suggest putting on the center dot in accessibility section, accessibility options. That way you can see this dot in the middle of your screen to line yourself up without having to aim or anything. This is another section where 20 swaps is for maximum safety. Directly after this, I will show you as well a version someone has found, I believe it was Setharuni, where you can do with 13 swaps. Now, once you get into this room, you're going to want to walk forward with a throwable and try to get yourself attached to this wall for just a few moments. I tend to wait until the item drop sound plays just for safety, and what that does is that opens up this load zone here, makes it active. Otherwise, this is what happens to you if you don't do that. You climb up the stairs and nothing doing. You can actually walk out here. There's nothing necessarily to do, but it's neat if you like out of bounds areas. And here's Setharuni's setup for doing 13 swaps, where he stares at the floor and right on the very final stair. And just so.
I hear something.
At any rate, Shagohod South is a very small area. There's nothing special about it. Just make your way through, rolling onto the other side. Shagohod West has two paths you can take. I would personally suggest the left side. It is much less tight. I believe I display both in the video, but again, I personally prefer this left side. You trank and then roll through the first guard, headshot the second one, then continue rolling. The third guy you don't have to deal with at all if you hug the left wall. Just roll over the logs in your way. And this last guy, again, doesn't matter. You can just roll through him just before making it to the exit of the area. So the right side path is much, much, much tighter, which is why I suggest the left path here. It is very tight, especially if you get noticed, because as you can see, I just barely saved myself from that alert there. but otherwise exactly the same. But yes, the caution won't matter heading into this next room because this is going to be the cutscene spawn with the end. Also, before switching areas here, I would suggest switching into the animals outfit that you got from just after Ocelot. At any rate, in this particular case, I know where the end spawns. You may need to figure that out before you engage in this strat. This was found by Mattmatt, so we're going to warp the end down from his perch. But first we need to take him a little out. We're going to take some stamina off of his bar before moving off to this little tree here. And we're going to do punch, punch, kick combos to kind of time out when we need to do the rest of this. Now here I do 9. I always do 9, even though there's some cases where you can do 7 and it's totally fine. I just always do 9 for pure panic reasons. Make sure he hears you with the 1911. Then equip your stuns and your Mark 22. Chuck a stun right behind him. And then we want to get as many headshots here as possible and also hold him up. Then when he's on the ground, that's another 3 headshots. And then we're going to go and head him off over here, because this is the next area he's going to be going to. 2 punches, 2 headshots. He's going to back off. Right back to the middle of your spawn area here. Chuck another stun. I accidentally hit him with it. It doesn't necessarily matter. Then 2 more headshots. Attempt to hold him up. I didn't quite make it here, so I took the 3rd headshot. And here's where my version kind of went off the rails. I will have Metz's video to display exactly what it's supposed to look like afterward, so have no fear. The name of the game really is to try and save as much Mark 22 as you possibly can. As you can see here, I've run out. But I have 1 remaining stun grenade. And this shouldn't have worked, but it somehow did. Either way. But that's how it looks when you screw it up. So let's see how it looks when you don't screw it up. Here's Metz's video. As you can see, much, much cleaner. At any rate, once the end is done, move off to the left, grab your Mosin Nagant. This will be very, very, very important. And then we will be moving off to the ladder and the Krasnogoria Mountains. It's worth noting that the ladder, you actually climb faster at 60 frames per second, and we have been playing thus far on 30 just to make airwalks happen more consistently. So it is potentially useful to switch over to 60 frames just to get up the ladder. In fact, I chose to do so here. Again, PC runners will have the benefit of load remove timers, so that will help in that regard.
But you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be no one else. It's the way I fly to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. I'm still in a dream, snake eater.
Alrighty, so at the Krasnogoria Mountain Base, depending on whether you have ammo or not, there are routes that will allow you to move through here quickly and safely. Well, more quickly if you have the ammo than if not, but first we're going to show the non-ammo route, which is a very careful crouch walk across this entire area. So an option here is to dive under this rock formation through this crawl space and grab some Mark 22 ammo, which will help out just a little bit. And we really do want to avoid a caution, so make sure to take out that last guy. That being said, there's faster ways, but that requires ammo. So here is how that was. Here's how that would look. So, starts out much the same, but this time we take out the first guy on the right here, and from here it's a straight shot to just roll across the entire mountainside here. We'll get noticed by a lot of dudes, but with animals and by staying low with the rolls, we're going to be able to carry the momentum forward without being actually spotted, leading to mountainside. So, here's a couple of pickups for the Mark 22. I missed the second pickup, but this works just fine. Make sure you take out that guy. You can do so while moving, thankfully, as long as you are quick on the draw. Well, quick with aiming, more like. Then you take out that second guard there. Continue rolling as far up as possible. For this third fella in our way, we're going to trank roll through. Again, cautions are a no-go. We want to avoid them if possible. Then headshot our guy to the left here, and the one overlooking him up at the top. Then we're going to dip in here just to grab the RPG early. This will be useful for the Sorrow, but won't be anything before that. We don't really need the RPG. And make sure to roll into that guy to make sure he doesn't cause problems. As soon as you load in the mountaintop, take out the guy in the trenches directly ahead of you. And roll, roll, roll. This particular route through this room was found by Bracken, and is fairly consistent as long as you are continuing motion, basically, after the first guy. Once into the mountaintop ruins, you have several cutscenes to skip before you can continue on. Once through all the cutscenes, just make your way back into the ruins and make sure to grab the noodles on your way out. At least one pack. This will be useful for later. There's also some spare Mark 22 if you absolutely need it in there as well at the bottom. Here, this is more or less just like OG. Be quick, make sure to make that roll onto that slope. And again, changing directions with aiming, very useful. And this is going to put us down on the path to the Fury. Now, the Fury is a bit of a handful. Here's where we're going to put on the most on the gun, as usual. I would suggest, since we can now move with the Mosin equipped, to do so early before you trigger into the fight. And so something that Metza originally found, and I have kind of modified in this particular take, is you can take shots from the opposite end of the Fury here. You can kind of duck behind a pillar. And I chose here to do 2-shot cycles just to make sure we don't knock him off the edge over there. Kind of makes the RNG a little bit more favorable. He doesn't fly around half as much. But you can take 3 2-shot cycles and 2 3-shot cycles, and that is plenty quick enough to get the Fury out of your way. And being on the opposite side of him makes things just that little bit safer. And of course, Delta Snake has some problems with ladders, so generally, if you're moving straight forward, this won't be a problem. So, Groznyj Grad Southwest on your first approach, basically like the original. Aim well. Make sure to get this guy out of your way. Don't get caught up on the railing if possible, but hey. Then moving into northeast, there's going to be exactly 2 guards in your way. One will be facing the other, so make sure you take the back guard out before you take the front one out, just to avoid any nonsense. And that'll put you into the Weapons Lab East Wing. So the following strat here was put together by Theory. Basically, it's the same as OG, slightly modified for Delta's particular intricacies, we'll say. But yeah, dive into the cafe for a short moment to not get noticed by the guy up top. Then look down the hallway to shoot that guy in the leg, and then Raikov should come right to you, at which point you can just CQC him into the dirt and then drag him along. So doing this, even though the caution gets fully called in, we don't have to worry. We'll have plenty of time to make it out before the reinforcements arrive. So here, just like normal, put the officer outfit on with the mask. So it is worth noting to be cautious when approaching these two guys. You can, in fact, roll past the cutscene trigger without actually causing the cutscene to happen, at which point you'll need to backtrack and then go back through the trigger. So I do 2 rolls, and that seems to work out just fine.
All I want.
Tell me,
Stop it!
who have you been talking to?
He doesn't know what you're talking about.
You'd better start talking.
Please, stop this!
Who is Khrushchev's lapdog?
How can you do this to him?
I know you gave the data to someone.
Never do it
You!
like that. You monster.
I guess he's dead. Now then, I hope you'll prove more entertaining than he was. But first, let's take a look at your body, shall we? What a beautiful body you have, like a newborn baby. But not for long. Well then, let's get started. What is your target? Is it the Shagohod? Or Sokolov? Or maybe it's the Legacy? Answer me! Who is helping you? Who let you in here? You're a tough one, but even you must have your limits. And I am a patient man.
Once you're out of the torture, you can go grab the fork as usual, pull the transmitter and the FDP out of your body, and then start to spin. You can use the FDP here. However, the setup that I have found for taking Johnny out works better this way. So it's also a fun little fact that the punch combo with the single action army is kind of bugged at 60 frames per second. So to make it absolutely consistent, swap to 30. But once he walks forward, punch, and then punch as soon as possible, and you'll get Johnny out of your way. With the single action army equipped for all hits, of course. Then grab the smokes from Johnny, and then move along your merry way. So here we're going to chuck a very, very tight smoke grenade at that fella, roll towards the barrels, all the way around. There is faster methods to get through this room, but this is the safest and most consistent that we've managed to find so far. For northeast, just follow the wall as we used to do. No problem here, using aim to quickly turn. Head straight through the door, and upon entering northwest, hold your right direction and get out to throw your grenade, much like original, just shy of that second little barrel there. Delay for a moment so the guy on the left doesn't catch you, and continue rolling. Now, if you equip your cigar this here, and then follow the next step, you will have enough damage done to where you can kill yourself in one RPG shot during the sorrow. So equip the cigar just as you're rolling in here. Skip this call here. And if you hold directly down and roll, you will land on this ledge, break your leg, and this will set you up nicely for the sorrow. If you land in the water, you are dead. If you land on that ledge, you are not dead. Just fun little details, I suppose. Continue rolling. The route is exactly the same as it used to be, so no changes there. Again, you want to be standing as much as possible instead of crouch rolling. It is very, very slightly faster, so. It's also worth mentioning that if you take the extra moment, or if you don't take the extra moment to stand, the camera will pan up, but Snake actually won't be standing on recovery from a roll. So make sure Snake is standing just before you start rolling at all. At any rate, once you load into the Sorrow, go to your backpack, equip the RPG, and start blasting yourself. At any rate, once you're through the Sorrow, Garni is pretty quick and easy. Don't do what I did here and roll into the water. Roll across the water. But usual movement applies. Just keep rolling. The log roll in Delta is a bit easier here, I've noticed. Well, at least on keyboard controls. I'm not sure about controller. So behind the waterfall, again, standard operating procedure. Just roll to the end of it. You don't need any of this stuff on the side paths here. I just grab it because I can. The main prize is at the end of it, where we grab box B, which will allow us quicker access to the weapons lab again. So here, do your menuing. You want the Mark 22, you want the Mosin, the SVD, the RPG, and the stuns and C3, and you want to make sure your cardboard box is on. You also might want to consider putting a mask on a non-officer outfit. That way you can use it for Volgin. So take out that first guy across the way, then crouch roll If you're careful enough, once you get past this point, you can probably stand and roll, but to be absolutely safe, crouch rolling works. You don't have to swap camos here. You can keep the mask on if you'd like. And once you get in the truck, just equip the box, and you're into the Shagohod's hangar. So, once in the weapons lab, you can grab the most ammo, aim, and then head directly back. You can take the distraction shot against the tank or the wall or whatever have you. I take out that first guy because he has some issues going where he's supposed to go. A little bit of sticky menuing, but you want to make sure you put the C3 down. That's rather important. Then continue on the way around. These two guys will probably be in your way. If I could aim, this wouldn't be half as bad. There is another strategy involving a stun grenade. I don't remember off the top of my head who put that together, and I can't seem to find it in a pinch. But it does look a lot faster than this. Past the cutscenes and into Volgin with the mask on, you can directly take 4 headshots. In this particular strat, I take the mask off and then walk around to grab the last 2 headshots. And avoid the bullet dome. If you're moving forward there, you can actually CQC Volgin there and avoid damage and whatnot, but this is fine. Once you knock him to the ground, 1, 2, and 3, move forward, CQC him one more time. Keep 1 Mosin round by the end of this. You will want that so that it refills after bike chase. Mark 22 works well enough for finishing this out, though. Now, Cold War does not affect bike chase nearly as much as it used to, but it's still handy to have, so I put it on. But that is one strat for Volgin. Another one, recently found here by Seth Rooney, is to do this. At any rate, once Volgin is down, you are into bike chase, which is the same as it ever was. So I'll see you on the other side of all of this nonsense. So for Shagohod 1 here, it is perfectly possible to actually make sure to never allow him to attack, as found by Theory. So big shoutouts to Theory for making this fight absolutely free. The only thing you have to worry about is keeping his treads dead as long as possible. This is also less at the mercy of Eva as it was before, so quite handy. And just like that. As for phase 2, we can actually get multiple shots in per damage phase, which is quite useful. So this particular attempt was not the cleanest, but that being said, there will be a clip afterward from Theory showing just how quick this could actually go.
Snake, here.
I can't do it.
Snake, missiles.
And just like that. So, second half bike chase, again, basically the same as usual. See you after. So, before you cure Eva, make sure she eats something, even if it's just a Russian ration. Here is where you would use that, the noodles you picked up in the ruins, if you still had them. And make sure, before you leave this area, that you have stun grenades to throw. Very important. If you grab the pack in the mountains, then you won't have to pick them up here, generally. No worries there. But also make sure to set your menus up, clear out all the unnecessary stuff, and switch camos to something less likely to get you spotted here. But you can leave Eva behind while you carry on forward to this cutscene trigger, just like normal. And the escort is more or less like it was. The chasing guards in this first screen seem to move a little bit faster than they used to. So just something to be aware of. Easily dealt with. If you stand more or less in this position, and then once they come around the corner, just chuck a smoke grenade in that direction. That buys you more than enough time to get out of the screen. So Eva's pathing is just as janky as it used to be. The best thing to note is to just maintain a straight line between you and her. So here, make sure your Mark 22 has your suppressor on, and then start going to town on these guys. If you hit the guy without causing this caution, then these two aren't necessarily a concern, but either way, it's totally fine. But, same as usual, keep a direct line between you and her, unobstructed. Unlike me, I'm going to go around this tree, and it's going to cause some problems. Because she's going to take it around to the left, and then decide instead she wants to go to the right. In order to avoid that, just slow down a little bit. Kick this plant, cause this guy to come investigate. There's a guy off to that left side. There's one directly ahead. And I can never see the guy down there, which I accidentally hit him. But generally I tend to try to just, I try to get him riled up and then take him out after that. But once those folks are out of the way, you are free and clear all the way to the screen transition, which leads to the boss.
It was November. Then...
So for fighting the boss, this strat is less than 24 hours old as of recording, but you take the first counter, knock her to the ground, and then swap immediately to the Mosin. 2 headshots, switch to stuns, chuck the stun. Hitting her with it is optional, but I like it. Another 2 headshots after she moves her hand briefly. The timing is after she's done speaking, the next time she moves her hand over her, across her face. Like so. And I delay here, throw the last stun, she stands up but gets blinded. You then knock her back to the ground. Back to the Mosin. 2 more headshots. Then chuck a smoke grenade while she's on the ground. Another slam while she's blinded from the smoke. She can't see you. 2 headshots. And repeat this process, and that is a full loop for the boss. Once you slam her down again, it's just another 2 shots from the Mosin. And that's the boss down, and the run complete, more or less. So, load remove time ends on shot on Ocelot, but this is effectively the end of the run. So we're still finding stuff. If you're finding this on YouTube, you can come find us at Metal Gear Speedrunners on Discord. MetalGearSpeedrunners.com has all of the updated information. It has a link to the Discord, and from the Discord, we have been dissecting this game as much as possible. Worth noting again, this is the any % route. We are also looking at a all bosses or a glitchless route, in case you don't want to deal with the airwalking and you just want to go through the game straight as it was.
A patriot.
At any rate, thank you for watching. Hope you have fun on your speedrunning journey.
Jack,
And, yeah, I'll see you next time.
or should I say, Snake, you're a wonderful man. Kill me. Kill me now. Do it. There's only room for one boss and one snake.